Hi guys, in-depth movie highlights tapping in with another one. Before we start, warning, spoilers. Today, I'm gonna explain a 2021 German-American heist comedy movie called Army of Thieves. A prequel to Army of the Dead, is the second installment in the Army of the Dead franchise. The movie begins with the explanation of a respectable locksmith called Hans Wagner, who was once a hard-working man until his wife and son died tragically. In his waning years, he started to design a series of 4 safes based on Richard Wagner's legendary ring cycle, comprised of 4 operas. He then named the safes as the following: Rheingold, Elgri, Siegfried, and Götterdämmerung. After completing the masterpiece, Hans built the final safe which he used to lock himself away for good. Several attempts had been made to free him from the safe, but all failed, and finally the safe was dropped into the ocean with Hans' dead body still inside it. Until now, the location of the safes remained one of the greatest mysteries of the safe-cracking world. Sebastian, the main character of the movie, is living a mundane life as a bank teller in Germany, where he has to face annoying customers that keep complaining every day. One day at work, he sees news of a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas. In his spare time, he creates safe-cracking related videos for his YouTube channel. Unfortunately, all of his videos have no viewers at all, but he never gives up. A few moments later, one of his videos receives a viewer and a comment for the first time from a mysterious figure who invites him to attend an underground safe-cracking competition in Berlin. He eventually arrives at the location that was written on the comment and says the secret word to the guard, which is Götterdämmerung. The guard lets him in and he arrives at the venue, where several participants are already present and preparing themselves for the safe-cracking competition. The competition begins and all the participants start to crack the safe in front of them, while the confused Sebastian just stands still and panics. However, Sebastian eventually manages to crack the safe and proceeds to the semi-final with 3 other finalists. The next round begins and Neo is the first guy who succeeds to crack the second safe. This time, Sebastian is already prepared and manages to be the second person that cracks the safe, allowing him to proceed to the grand final. In the grand final, participants are required to solve the safe within 3 minutes or it'll be considered a tie. Neo is trying hard to crack to the safe while Sebastian just keeps chatting to distract Neo, who is annoyed and tells him to shut up. After that, Sebastian starts to deal with his safe and manages to crack it easily, making him the champion of the competition. He accidentally spots a girl named Gwen who is impressed by his safe-cracking skill. Turns out that Gwen is a skilled jewel thief who has been doing her action since she was a child. It was 6 years old when she managed to steal her first wristwatch. Surprisingly, Gwen also had a red notice from Interpol since she was 17. The next day, Sebastian continues his boring daily life. But this time he finally meets and talks to Gwen for the first time while buying coffee. She reveals that she is the one who placed the comment on YouTube and invited him to the competition to see his safe-cracking skill. Gwen also shows off her stealing skill by purposely stealing a wedding ring, a watch, and a gun from coffee shop visitors. She then invites Sebastian to be part of her heist team. At first, he hesitates as he is not a criminal and has no experience in doing so. But when Gwen explains that they are going after the entire ring cycle safes, Sebastian becomes excited because he is Hans' hardcore fan but still unsure as the safes are extremely hard to solve. Before Gwen leaves, she reveals that the safes are due to be decommissioned in 96 hours, meaning that they have very limited time to have the opportunity to solve the safes. Realizing that this may be the last moment for him to crack the masterpiece, Sebastian decides to join the team and travels to Gwen's hideout. There, Gwen introduces other team members to Sebastian. The first one is Karina, who is in charge of logistics and is a hacker. She claims herself. After that, there is Rolf, the getaway driver who was previously working as a valet parking driver and is known as the best drifter in the town. The last member is Brad Cage, the action hero, who claims himself to be the leader of the team, but then denied by Karina. At first, Sebastian is surprised and confused at the same time because the international heisting crew only consists of 5 members, including him. Gwen clarifies that the smaller the size of the crew, the harder for them to get caught. The 5 of them plan to perform 3 heists across Europe in 3 days. Their first stop will be Paris, where Rheingold, the safe with the least combinations among the other safes, sits in a credit union. Just a moment before the heist, Sebastian suddenly hesitates and panics because Brad Cage equipped himself with a gun. Gwen tries to comfort him by saying that the gun is unloaded. Sebastian is the first guy to go into the credit union and directly heads straight to the bathroom. Then Gwen steals the keys from the security guard and comes in as a guest to see the deposit room. After that, Karina arrives at the bank to distract the teller while Gwen and Sebastian sneak into the vault and arrive at the place where the safe is kept. Sebastian finally has the opportunity to perform his safe-cracking skills with the real and challenging safe. After explaining the story behind the safe to Gwen, he manages to solve the puzzle easily and the safe is unlocked. They gather the money from the vault and then escape from the credit union while Brad distracts the tellers for the second time. The crew successfully undertakes their heist and escapes undetected. On the other side, Delacroix, an obsessive Interpol agent who has been chasing the crew for years after Brad shot him in the ass, finds the footage of the heist at the credit union and suspects Gwen's crew is the culprit behind it. His team member Beatrix asks the urgency of chasing the thieves as there is currently a zombie outbreak that needs more attention, but he is already too obsessed with the thieves and doesn't care about the zombie apocalypse. He figures out that the crew is going to the remaining Wagner safe's location and orders the other Interpol officers to get ready. As the crew celebrates after the Paris heist, Karina asks Sebastian to make out but he refuses as he develops feelings for Gwen secretly, which disappoints Karina. Later on the night, Karina reveals to Sebastian that Brad's real name is Alexis and she is in a relationship with him. Regardless, Sebastian spends the night with her talking about their past life and the location of Götterdämmerung, sowing jealousy in Brad. The next day the crew arrives at Prague, where the Valkyrie safe is kept in the PIB bank. Sebastian and Gwen will sneak into the bank, while Karina will be assisting them from the van. Sebastian manages to get access to several rooms undetected and finally reach the elevator where he meets Gwen there. Both of them descend to the underground and arrive at the vault. Upon arrival, they meet with two guards and Gwen manages to defeat both of them with her martial arts skill. As usual, before cracking the safe, Sebastian explains the story behind the safe to Gwen. Unfortunately, a bank security officer detects Sebastian's movement and becomes suspicious of his strange disappearance in the CCTV. They then decide to trigger the soft lockdown alarm, causing Brad to launch Plan B and starts equipping himself with weapons and a weird mask. He gets into the bank and knocks out several security guards with tranquilizer darts. He also orders the bank patrons to the center of the room while urging the staff to fill a bag with money. On the other side, Delacroix and his team are waiting for the thieves' movement, but nothing happens. They decide to get into the bank, only to find out that they have been waiting in the wrong bank, as the safe had been moved in PIB. Back to the vault, Sebastian fails at the first attempt, risking it to be locked forever if he fails one more time. Luckily, he eventually manages to crack the puzzle and open the safe, moving some of the money to their bags. Thanks to the chaos caused by Brad, Sebastian and Gwen are able to flee from the vault. While leaving, Brad is shot in the shoulder by a security guard, but manages to get back into the van. Rolf begins their getaway and Gwen successfully jumps into the van with Brad's help. When it's Sebastian's turn, Brad deliberately throws him back to the street, forcing him to escape the pursuit by himself. He manages to steal a bike and uses it to escape from the police. Sebastian eventually is able to reach a train and leaves with it. Gwen is very angry and disappointed with Brad's previous action even though they had agreed previously to ditch Sebastian after 3 heists are completed. She orders Rolf to stop the van and decides to leave the van and the heist team. Karina also joins her and both of them decide to head back to Munich and reunite with Sebastian. The depressed Sebastian is surprised when he finds Karina and Gwen have been waiting for him in the house. They apologize and Gwen encourages him to continue the heist. After several encouraging words, he finally decides to join Karina and Gwen again to proceed to their final heist. They head to Street Moritz where the third safe is located whilst Delacroix and his team also present in the town. This time the Interpol team is more prepared and confident because one of their members manages to break into Sebastian's communication line and reveals their plan. The Interpol team gets into the casino, only to find out that they are tricked as the safe has been transported earlier because they contacted the casino staff, which makes Delacroix confused. It turns out that 8 hours earlier Karina impersonated an Interpol agent and contacted the manager of the casino, where Siegfried is kept, informing them that the safe might be attacked. Because of that, the casino agreed to reschedule the shipment by half an hour to dodge any planned attacks. Sebastian and Gwen hijacked the armored truck and picked up the vault themselves, while Karina purposely records a radio transmission that convinced the Interpol that the pickup time was still on schedule. Sebastian works on the vault as Gwen drives them towards their escape. Unfortunately, Brad and Rolf are also waiting at the casino and manage to spot Gwen's location through her phone GPS. Aware of the threat, Karina comes out from the van and tries to stop them, but she immediately is surrounded by Interpol agents and arrested. Luckily, she manages to inform Gwen. Beatrix convinces her to tell them Gwen's getaway plan, allowing Interpol to chase after them. Long story short, Sebastian manages to crack the safe's lock and Gwen decides to pull the truck over to collect all the money within the vault. Unfortunately, Brad and Rolf arrive and Brad pulls his gun on the pair. Turns out that Gwen had already removed the firing pin from Brad's gun and she turns the table as she is also equipped with a gun, handcuffing both Brad and Rolf to the truck for Interpol to find, before leaving with Sebastian. The pair arrives at the pier. Just before leaving on a boat, they are caught by Delacroix, who points his gun towards them. Gwen points her gun back at the Interpol agent, and after some end negotiations, she finally decides to sacrifice herself to be arrested by him as she is what he wanted. Delacroix reluctantly agrees and arrests Gwen as Sebastian escapes with the boat. He finds a passport prepared by Karina and travels to the United States. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.